So another key point is like thriving in the AI native era. See, this AI stuff has been started into practice since 2022, right? And it is now, almost I say embedded in each and every activity which we do in our software development, right? So there was a past way when we did the software development, we had, like SDLC kind of stuff and agile based stuff, and now, AI making things faster. So now what basically, I can give a correct message to everyone, what mainly the guys, who are fresh out of college. I told to everyone, the key thing you guys have energy. You have a lot of energy. Only thing you need to fine tune the energy in a correct way. And I've already shared, now you don't need to do a lot of work, right? On unnecessary thinking. You can quickly come up with the correct thinking for the work you are doing. You don't need to be clueless, because now you have, AI assistance where, it gives you answers, explanations, and everything. The key focus is only, asking the correct questions. And correct question does not mean, it comes on the step one, because you are developing a solution for, somebody else, and that is his business problem. And business problem, depends on the sector, because based on the enterprise and based on the, different businesses, and that can be a business problem, defined by you. So business, when I'm saying, which has, when I'm saying about the business, that means it is something where some business is involved, like there's a value, there's a finance involved. When you get the work, do the work, it's a part of your career, something like that. So one key point, this is the presentation I picked up. I think the Google guys, they given the presentations, and I picked up a couple of points from there, and putting it here. So earlier I gave this presentation and talked about many other things, but the key thing is, like, I would always say, before working any project you are working on, right, always make sure why basically this specific project is, what problem it is solving, and how you basically fits on that specific part of the project. So that's the one thing, I always say. And one more thing I always say, like, see we are, when developing the solution, and we are sitting in front of computer, so it's too easy. We have, the model of, with the software developers, when they do, there are a lot of things we can easily find out, from the web. We can easily download it, install it, and quickly come up to writing any code. But, that's not how the system works. But when we really seriously develop a solution, then we need to convert the real world things and convert into the digital system. There's a, there's a railway ticketing system. It was like real railway ticketing system. You go there, buy the ticket, and, stand in the queue in the railways. But now you have digitized it. It is all into an application. You go there, you don't need to seriously go there, but what you have to need to do, you go to railway ticketing system website and click a couple of things, pay the money, and ticket will be just come to you. So that's the solution from, railway ticketing system, which existed in real, and then you are solving in digital. So how things are happening, that's my meaning, is like one of the project, right? But once you convert those all things, let's say you are freshly developing a railway ticketing system, right? You need to seriously understand, and this is not a one person who is understanding everything. So the project got developed in a team, and there's an agreement involved, who is doing what, and there is a business people involved. There is a, like, people involved who is sharing the requirement, and there is a, team involved. So there's a structure of the team. I can't define what exactly the team would be, but in standard way, in last recent years, the team is something like, there are set of people, we can call them subject matter expert, or, the people who are sharing the problem which need to solve. Then there's a person like product manager, who is basically, understanding what need to be done, and working with business analysts basically understanding more deeply the business of the real world problem they suppose they're getting solved. And product managers and business analyst team taking all this requirement, converting in such a structured way, so they can give to tech team, and they can convert it to the code, something like that. So this was the recent practice, but now, the speed is getting fast. Earlier it was a slow process. Slow process means, okay, business guys, subject matter experts will give the data, they will give, requirement, then, product managers, business analysts, they convert it. Now, the speed is fast. You don't need to, wait for days, or because earlier you need to discuss, understand, think 5 different ways and figure out one. But now with AI assistance, you can do, you can do a lot. So one of the key things, here, I would say that one of the emerging pattern, which I am talking about here, the T-shaped developer. So T-shaped developer, you can define in many different ways like that. But one pattern I see, right? So if you are in this tech industry, correct, and in this tech industry you are coming up with your skills, so make sure you are going a bit deeper in one of the area, right, that you need to choose from. Like currently I have product engineering interns, and one team is going deeper in data science, another team is going deeper in AI LLM engineering, and another team is going in the platform engineering, and there's one more team which is going in the data science. But as I said, that what means, if you are coming to that area, you must know deeper means more. Deeper means very closest attention, right? And you should be an expert who understand, in and out almost about the subject you are understanding. Not up to that level, oh, data scientist is this. No, you are understanding what does data scientist means, from where it came, what this data scientist was before data science, right? So, and the key thing, what the data means, what scientist means. He's a data scientist for which data? That data belong to which industry? What problem it solves? What research questions it has? So those are the key high level things, something like that. So if people are working in enterprise identity manager, they understand what reality in enterprise means, what identities are, digital identities, right? How JWT comes in, how public private key works, how it got adapted, how what is RSAs are. So going a bit deeper, so because each most of the projects, which are the big project business projects, they have data science involved, they have AI LLM involved, and they have like platform engineering involved. So if you're picking those areas, right? So other than that, this T-shaped developer sees that definitely you have generative AI or those kind of usage, how to use it. And Claude is, I think it's doing wonders for developers, right? So a lot of people got adopted the Claude Code, Claude Terminal, right? And Claude way of doing things. And I'm sure everybody's following a lot about their models, Fable 5 or Opus 4.8 and all, and working a bit deeper, understanding how those models are working. But how I see this pattern, in your area, let's say you pick up the platform engineering area and you are going a bit deeper, right? And I will explain what the point, meaning of deeper. But along with that, you should also understand, how a full structured applications getting developed, what it basically involved, like that. So if you go to, this, I have explained very clearly, here, if you see the RegIntel project, right? If you see RegIntel, right? So here I have explained very clearly, if you think about a specific project, right? So you can look into what the project means, what the actual project means. And I have given it's all understanding about that project. I call it regulatory intelligence. And I have added here, how this project is divided in different parts that has, the problem meaning and what basically data it gets involved, and what is tech architecture, how teamwork, something like that. So what it means, other than you are just thinking about your part, you must able to understand what this project as a whole, what problem it is solving, where I'm fit. Let's say I'm the person in platform engineering, how platform engineering fits as a technical implementation of this project, and in that technical implementation, how my part fits into that technical structure. But addition to it, what this whole project looks like. When you close your eyes, you can see what closed project look like. So other than that, you also understand, how security looks like, how the management maintenance of this project looks like. So it is not only the tech level. And many of you, who have worked with me, the biggest cost in our project is not tech, it is the coordination. If we have 10, 20, 30 people, one guy is talking with the guy number 2, guy 2 is talking with guy 3, and the circling is happening, a lot of coordination is happening before writing a line of code, something like that. So make sure, like, rather than just only under the T-shaped developer means, you understand and very hands-on, what these generative AI assistant altogether, how they work. And second thing, other than your pillar, what the adjacent engineering are. Adjacent engineering means even you are working in platform engineering, but it does not mean you are just focusing on the platform what got deployed. You understand what this project is, what parts of it, how they work, how they serve to the customers, right? And how I need to improve. I need to work on in my platform engineering part. And non-engineering is like even like frictions. As I said, when multiple people works together in a team, and we need to make sure how we can manage or maintain this project with less frictions, where people come, they focus in their system, and they work together. So it is just my idea is like the work is getting changed, the way of working is getting changed. So now companies or projects just don't expect only you come up with as a front end developer mindset, where you can do only convert a well designed, well informative UI, right, for a digital full stack engineering application, and you can convert into the React code. Coding can be done very easily. You add a specific skill and you can design a, I would say template or something for the business you are working with, all design language and everything. And then, the cloud code and all, they can generate the code. So you need to focus more. Let's say if you are in a front end developer, right? You can't say yourself a front end developer. I would say rather you call it as a product engineer, something like that, and focus more on, like just not only the front end code, but also focus on UI, UX, also information architecture, primary, secondary color, design language, right? User experience. So it's not limited to now only to the front end developer. I would say call it yourself product engineer, UI, UX engineering. Anyway, this is how I call it as a T-shaped developer. So T-shape, you must be able to ask all type of questions, not only your specific question. So if you're working in a project, so you must know what project it's all about. So it's not you can only ask the question in your domain. You must be able to ask other questions because everything is linked in the project. So now that's how I see. So, and depth is one area better than everybody. That's how I say. But we'll keep talking more and keep discussing more.